Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья!
Всем добрый день! Рада приветствовать вас на онлайн-семинаре, на международном семинаре.
Good afternoon, dear friends. We're happy to see you at the online workshop, which is the international workshop devoted to the secret doctrine and the final overview of the third stanza. The 27th of April 2024 is the end of the fourth month, which is primarily the way out to this or that form of formation. Today we are living through the time of the end of April, and
it's the end of April. And we are going to study very powerful material. All 12 shlokas should be reviewed. And we will need to dwell on the key points of the stanza. So today's webinar is going to take a very dynamic turn. All the questions that you're going to answer, probably we won't be able to answer directly live, but please remember we've got Theosophic quizzy. All the questions will be answered there. Thank you so much. So let's wish ourselves good luck. Stanza 3, indeed, is just like the cup, the synthetic cup that collects all the best, collects the higher energies, the energies that cannot be said. This is very high tension, high responsibility for providing this material, for giving each opinion, for giving each comments by our speakers, members of the scientific research group, all of you that will work jointly with us live today. This united thought, the unsaid thought, can be combined together. So now I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Yary, head of the Theosophical School, psychologist, the city of Moscow, Russia. Good afternoon once again. Let's start with the thought of the day. As per tradition, Helena Petrovna gives us the opportunity to identify, to determine the movement of our mental thought and to identify where we're going to move forward and for which purpose. The thought is the following. He who lives in one color of the rainbow is blind to the rest. Live in the light diffused through the entire arc, and you will know it all. It's unusual, but this thought immediately makes me think of the wheel of the good law to Kalachakra. In its essence, it is the light giver. And the united colorless light gets various tints. And it is the combination of atoms of life. And if we look at the wheel of the good law, we will see the following combination of nidanas. Each of them go under a particular ray or color of this ray. Color itself symbolizes the nature, the character. And the ray is the creative beginning under which each human being is born as the essence of the thinking, of the activity based on thought, and its individuality predetermines its further development. And in this case, the epoch of the blue monkey let us know that we should harmonize within ourselves all three worlds. The world of the spirit, the astral world, and the phenomenal world. These three worlds should be synthesized on an individual level. Then the sense of beauty is born within ourselves. In other words, we can understand the meaning of the laws that are composed by these three worlds. And then we are able to reach the cause that we can change or that we can confirm. And it depends on our free will, on our consciousness, on the level of its expansion. And if we can deeply delve into the essence of things, the age is the age of the white dragon. You all know that it symbolizes wisdom or the existence. Its ray is of green color. Green color symbolizes the spirit of the planet, Saturn. In its essence, it's the formed thought. It means that during this age, we can form the understanding and the perception of the existence. And this perception will be formed in the thought form. And then human beings can clearly see the image, and they follow this movement, the beautiful thought in accordance with this existence. That is the reality. The age of the blue, or rather the year of the blue dragon, tells us about the wise thought. And the wise thought has its nature that is predetermined by the ray. Dragon is above this ray, and it symbolizes its power. And this power is the power of the spirit of Mars, the planet of Mars. But this is the martial, the military energy of Mars. At this time, we can build the character of the warrior that is fighting with the chaos in space and tries to harmonize, to connect the synthetic essence, the matter and the spirit. And the polarity always shows the movement of the thought or the cross of life. If we look at Aquarius epoch, if we look at the blue monkey, we will see that the constellation of Aquarius, in front of it, there is the Leo constellation, and these constellations cross with the Taurus constellation and the Scorpio constellation. These are the constellations that intertwine, they cross. And the blue monkey is the hierophant of the sector of Aquarius. In front of it, we can see the tiger, symbolizing the constellation of Leo or Shambhala. And also, we can see that there is a boar in the black Scorpio. And in terms of Taurus, we can see that the crossing section is through the Nidana of snake. Through consciousness, that is how the great principle of the existence of human consciousness passes. And it is the awareness. And we're living in the month of the red hare. As you all see, the red hare gives the beginning of the turn of the wheel of the good law. This is the calendar cycle. It was confirmed, established first in Tibet. And with the year of the fiery hare, the calendar cycle started, this great teaching of the law of existence. That is why we can say that we are living through the month of the great beginning of the spirit of fire, and the spirit of fire carries the true knowledge within itself, the spiritual knowledge. The week is the week of the black rooster, and the day is the day of the black rooster. The 12 shlokas of the third stanza of Tzyan is expressed in the world, and it's expressed based on the black rooster. The black rooster itself is the seventh principle in the wheel of time. And the seventh principle is the synthetic principle on the one hand. And as it is black by itself, and it's the black rooster, it is the manifestation of beauty or logos. And logos, in its potentiality of the akasha property, that has the aspect of sound in itself, or the word in itself. This is the original vibration. This vibration is manifested through the power of Kundalini Shakti in a human. And that is important because Akasha is our spiritual essence. It is our center. And just imagine the Black Rooster Day and week is the concentration of everything that will unfold in the 12 shlokas of stanza 3. This is the Numen. The Numen that carries all the potentiality that will unfold in 3 crosses of life, or in 12 zodiac signs. Once it happens, we can see it unfolding on the wheel of time. What we can see on the wheel of time is what should unfold and be manifested. It's like a manifested universe. That is why the calendar by itself represents the body that symbolically manifests the universe, or the divine thought, and its complexity of its divine thought and its fiery nature of the creating united element. We can see it as the spirit of matter, the matter spirit that came before us in the form of 3 dots. In the future, they will symbolize the circle with a dot. And this circle with a dot is exactly what we can see in the image of the wheel of the good law. And if you know the whole palette of these colors, you will enrich your consciousness, and you can tune with the energy of space, the energy of the eternal life. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving the direction of the thought for the properties of Nidanas that we can see. And today we're making this 12-facet step. Stanza 3, of course, has become these 12 sustainable facets where only the silence can heal it. And that is why we can say that stanza 3 is like a cup of the low waves collection. This is the foundation for the will. This is the foundation of the universe, the whole universe. And in this sense, its significance is really great. And today, with great pleasure, I'd like to give the floor to Professor of Philosophy, Department of Moscow Aviation Institution, Moscow, Russia, Kolganov Sergey Vitalyevich, the candidate of Philosophy Sciences. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for preparing your research. We are listening to you attentively.
All the best wishes to participants of our workshop. Hello. The topic of my study today is Theosophical understanding and the world of modern science. Every year, science reveals more and more surprising insights and discoveries, which we first identify as something completely new and unknown, and then we find sources where it was already written about many decades ago. But what is more important is that all this knowledge provides us with a solid foundation, the personal improvement of human beings and their way of life. This directly applies to the creative heritage of Madame Blavatsky. Our focus today is on the following statement from stanza 3 of The Secret Doctrine. The waters of life, or chaos, the feminine in symbolism, is the void to our mind in which the unmanifested spirit and matter are enclosed. In this context, emptiness is synonymous with space. By studying this part of the Secret Doctrine, it's possible to establish important correspondences between four concepts: chaos, space, emptiness or vacuum, and spirit matter, undivided. These categories are now actively used and investigated by modern science and philosophy. In particular, in such an interdisciplinary direction of scientific research as synergetics, the concept of chaos is being reinterpreted, and the concept of dynamic or deterministic chaos is introduced as a certain supercomplex orderliness that exists implicitly, potentially, can manifest itself in a huge variety of order structures. Dynamic chaos is a phenomenon in which the behavior of nonlinear system looks random, despite the fact that it's governed by deterministic laws. Within the synergetic paradigm, the main form of being is not that which has become, but what which is becoming. Becoming is expressed through its two extremes: chaos, the basis of complexity, randomness, creation, destruction, and the order, the basis of simplicity, necessity, law, beauty, and harmony. In synergetics, chaos acts as creative beginning, constructive mechanism of evolution. It's a means of unification, complication, and harmonization of the development of a complex structure. In the second half of the 20th century, the evolution of matter was considered along with synergetic approach and the concept of global evolutionism. Its basic idea is that the laws of evolution are unified for any form of motion of matter, although, of course, there's a certain peculiarity for each specific case. The universe is represented as natural whole, evolving in time. Synergetics, from Greek synergetikos, cooperative, acting in accordance, is a modern theory of self-organization, as well as a universal theory of evolution, which provides a unified basis for describing the mechanisms of any innovations. Synergetics is the science of self-organization of systems, the transformation of chaos into order. Self-organizing systems develop their inherent structures or functions without any external influence or without divine intervention. One of the main conditions for self-organization is considered to be a significant shift of the system away from equilibrium, either internally or with the environment. The name synergetics was proposed by the German theoretical physicist Hermann Haken, born in 1927, still alive. This branch of knowledge emerged in the 60s years of 20th century's physical and mathematical theory, or so-called dissipative systems, open systems, interacted with the environment and preserving their existence due to the constant exchange of matter, energy, and information with it. Dissipation, from Latin dissipatire, means to disperse. In such systems, the flow of energy can take it out of a stable state. Instabilities start developing, and their subsequent self-organization can lead the system to a stable or heterogeneous state. In open systems, the inflow of energy prevents entropy and allows to reach sustainable stability, which is not accompanied by destruction of the structure. The energy can be channeled even in the direction of system complexity. Madame Blavatsky in Stanza 3 of The Secret Doctrine tries to inform us about what kind of energy it is. Electricity is the cause of molecular motion in the physical universe, and therefore here on Earth, it's one of the principles of matter. For arising whenever an equilibrium is disturbed, it becomes, so to speak, the karmic element of the object in which the disturbance occurs. Synergetics at present belongs to the category of philosophical sciences. Synergetics is a scientific discipline that studies the general laws of the processes of transition from chaos to order and back, processes of self-organization and spontaneous disorganization, in open non-linear systems of physical, chemical, biological, ecological, social nature. Synergetics as well as dialectics equally strive to reflect reality in its entirety and not within the framework of idealizations. Synergetics began with the works of the Belgian physicist and Nobel Prize-winning chemistry Ilya Prigozhin, born in 1917 in Moscow. Synergetics approaches can be extended to the consideration of any self-organizing systems, including many subsystems. Electrons, atoms, molecules, cells, neurons, multicellular organisms, people, communities of people, etc. For a system to be able not only to maintain but also to create order out of chaos, it must necessarily be open and have an inflow of energy and matter from the outside. The whole world accessible to our cognition consists of such systems, and this world evolution, diversity of forms, and unsteadiness are found everywhere. Open systems are irreversible systems. Time is an important factor in them. Thanks to their revelations of synergetics, self-organization, including all processes of self-regulation and self-reproduction, begins to be considered as one of the basic properties of the universe. Modern synergetic studies clarify that the laws of evolution of systems of different levels. In particular, it becomes obvious that certain chaos, spontaneity, and even disorder must be present in a real system, which makes the system survivable and flexible. Among the basic concepts of synergetics is the notion of attractor, Latin attract, means to attract, to lure. The point or closed line that attracts all possible trajectories of the system's behavior. Attractor structures show where the processes in open and nonlinear systems evolve. For any complex system, as a rule, there is a certain set of possible forms of organization, a discrete spectrum of attractor structures of evolution. The states far from equilibrium, when a complex system makes a choice of further evolutionary path, are called bifurcation points. At these points, the system, under the influence of the smallest influences or fluctuations, as any random deviation from value is called, can dramatically change its state. It's impossible to predict beforehand which of the possible attractors of the system will occupy.
Special structures of self-organization exhibiting the property of self-similarity are called fractal structures. An important feature of synergetic systems is that they can be controlled from the outside, and their temporal evolution depends on causes that cannot be predicted with absolute accuracy. Even a small difference in the initial conditions fundamentally changes the subsequent evolution of the system, so-called butterfly effect, from the name of a famous story by Ray Bradbury. The unpredictability of the evolution of synergetic systems is called stochasticity. From modern scientific point of view, the vision of the world around us and the world inside everyone converges. Synergetics is a new worldview that bridges the gap between these two worlds, and it establishes common mechanisms of self-organization inherent in both. In this way, science, including natural science, becomes more humane. Two other concepts addressed in the third stanza are vacuum, void, and space. In commentaries to the Secret Doctrine, Madame Blavatsky, to this stanza, we find the following lines. The universe does not mean cosmos, or the world of forms. It means formless space, the future medium of the universe, which is to be manifested. This space is synonymous with the waters of space, and also for us, with eternal darkness, and in fact with Par-Brahman. In comprehending these extremely general concepts, Madame Blavatsky relies to a lesser extent on the traditional style of thinking, on the consciousness that has learned to think or is able to work according to the rigid rules of logics. Thus, traditionally, the material world is comprehended by scientists with the help of explanation, indicating the cause of phenomena or bringing it under some general law, theory, or concept. Explanation is based on a logical model of an even constructed by analogy with other events. The study of the secret doctrine requires primarily understanding. Madame Blavatsky is in favor of understanding the fact through the development of intuitive comprehension. Understanding, which implies intuitive cognition of something, is in its uniqueness and inimitability, is in process of deriving meanings from artifacts. Unlike psychological understanding, which is based on one person sympathizing with a spiritual experience, with feelings and moods, theoretical understanding is based on not on empathy, but an extraction of objective meanings from the text. The synergetic approach to cognition of reality presupposes philosophical reflection. Philosophical reflection, from Latin reflexio, returning back, is the ability of human thinking to critically analyze itself. Philosophical reflection, or the highest type of reflection, is reflection on ultimate foundations of human culture and the meaning of human existence. Socrates' time, it's been considered the most important means of human self-knowledge and the basis for spiritual perfection. It's the ability for critical self-assessment that is the most important distinguishing feature of man as a rational being. The complexity of the process of understanding sacred texts by a person brought up in the paradigm of mass culture of the 21st century stems from the problem of the changing balance between faith and knowledge in the modern world, where the faith is gradually losing its central place. Thus, Madame Blavatsky's understanding of the categories of space and time does not fit into classical, historically established concepts. Substantial, Democritus, Epicurus, Descartes, Newton, etc., according to which space and time are independent entities connected neither with the matter nor with each other, where they're absolute and their characteristics remain unchanged under conditions. And the second one is relational, Aristotle, Leibniz, Einstein, etc., where space and time are interrelated and also inextricably linked with the matter and its motion. Changes in any of them necessarily cause changes in all others. In a sense, Madame Blavatsky's approach unites both of these concepts. As for the above-mentioned concept of the void or vacuum, it's from the point of view of modern physics, a receptacle of incredible amount of energy. Vacuum is the main filling of the universe. Some of its mysteries have been revealed. It's fundamental type of physical matter along with substance-filled matter. It's a kind of bottomless well consisting of virtual particles that don't obey to the law of energy, momentum, and mass ratio. They cannot be detected by instruments. Apart from the vacuum, physicists are penetrating deeper and deeper into the mysteries of the substance-filled form of matter. It's based on fundamental particles, so-called hadrons, heavy particles, leptons, light particles, and quarks, subelementary particles. Fundamental particles of the filled form of matter are particles with zero or integer spin. These are gluons, protons, gravitons, etc. So the whole space we have is permeated with light, radiant energy, or electromagnetism of high frequencies. Photon is both a wave and a particle, possessing mass, but only in motion. It's impossible to imagine a quantum of light frozen in space. In the distant future, provided that mankind survives, it will definitely aspire through the vacuum space to other stars, drawing energy for their means of traveling from the void. The universe is rich in paradoxes. Since ancient times, the ideas about its structure have been constantly changing. With the advent of astronomical instruments, much have become clearer, but now there are even more new mysteries based on photometric, gravitational, thermodynamic paradoxes of our universe and other worlds. There have been doubts about the infinity of the cosmos. In building various models of our universe, scientists rely on the results of observations and research. Science also has its horizons, and beyond them lies the infinity, exploration of the cosmos, discovery of new laws, study of the macrocosm and microcosm. It's all a limitless process too. Our world is infinite. There is no limit to our mind's development. We reach to other worlds with our mind. The two imaginary planes of scientific and esoteric knowledge have always existed and still exist, continue to converge in the endeavor to comprehend the infinite. Thank you so much.
Sergey Vitalyevich, thank you so much. Thank you for giving the direction to our thoughts that go beyond some limited abilities and possibilities. I was listening to your speech in the United Format, and it seemed to me that when we talked about the reliability, sustainability, the comparisons that you were able to find, the analysis points to getting the freedom that goes beyond the human limitations. And it occurred to me that stanza 3 is a spirit and a soul that got as one in this moment. And that is why freedom happened. It's the period of the formation of the universe, and that's when the freedom appeared. This freedom is on the threshold of nirvana, and nirvana is the perfect consciousness. And we can only guess that stanza 3 is the pure symbol of this freedom, the freedom that goes beyond the possibilities of the limited consciousness. And today, in this context that you presented your speech, we can see that it is not a hope, but it is a direction of scientific work, and it's the confirmation that if this silence exists, If the unsaid exists and it is non-form, if it is not confirmed yet, proved yet, we can see this perfection, we can have this perfection, and no one will be able to take this perfection from us. No one will destroy it. And if we have this perfection within ourselves, we can weave the foundation of the will within ourselves, and then the limited human consciousness can go beyond its limitations. And stanza 3 is this perfection, is this gnomon, and that is why it sounds with silence, and the silence has no echo. This is the key thought that occurred to me when you were presenting your speech. The destruction or dissolving the echo of the echo in the silence. And the silence is the perfection. It's the reflection of stanza 3. Thank you, Sergey Vitalyevich, for joining us today. We are looking forward to meet with you in May when we give a review to the whole stanza of Secret Doctrine. And now we invite our partner, our friend Kishore Ongole, Theosophical Society of India, Guntur. Mr. Ongole, we give you the floor. We'd like to listen to your research of stanza 3.
Namaste. The stanza 3. It is the awakening of cosmos. Stanza 3 describes the reawakening of the universe to life after Pralaya. It depicts the emergence of the monads from their state of absorption within the One, the earliest and highest stage in the formation of worlds. The term monad being one, which may apply equally to the vastest solar system or the tiniest atom. Stanza Sloka number 1. The Sloka number 1, the last vibration of the seventh eternity thrills through infinitude. 7 chains, 7th round of the 7th chain in one eternity, and humanity starts to wake up. The term eternity and infinitude is often used for infinite time span between rounds and chains. Lotus, the sacred flower, is compared to mother, the sacred feminine. Sloka number 2. The vibration sweeps along, touching with its swift wing the whole universe, and germ that dwelleth in darkness, the darkness that breathes over the slumbering waters of life. It can be interpreted as slumbering waters of life is understood as Narayana or Vishnu. Being Nara is water. Brahma yet to be born from Vishnu. The first breath from the all-powerful darkness ruffles water. Darkness breathes into the atmic level waters of life. Sloka number 3. We can understand this sloka number 3. I will directly go to the commentary. Darkness sends one solitary ray into the waters, into the mother deep. Darkness gives light. It breaks the eternal egg, which is a virgin egg, and a non-eternal germ descends into egg, which condenses into world egg. Brahma listens the sounds of the water, eternal waters, and gets the thought of creating virgin egg. Egg is a big symbol, eternal symbol. The life principle breaks open the egg and comes out. Same happens with the first creation from virgin egg. It is the expression of life from atom to planet, man to devas. That circle is the symbol as understood as center everywhere, circumference nowhere. The circle, like a serpent. Sloka number 4, commentary. The Theosophists always say the ocean of life is Milky Way, from which all creation comes. All eternal and occult secrets are in this Milky Way are ocean of life only. The ancient Indian wisdom has expressed that this Milky Way is churned at the time of creation. That is called Samudra Manthan. Samudra is ocean, Sa plus Mudra, which means a seal. Manthan is churning. The 14 jewels are created out of this churning. These 14 are 7 external and 7 internal keys of life, as understood by occultists. Milk white curds are what the Westerners call yogurt. Made out of the milk is a symbol of Mula Prakriti or crystallized thought forms. Now, the sloka number 5. We'll go to the commentary. Oye who is understood as father, mother of angelic energies. This is also called 6-in-1 Saptaparni. This occult secret is revealed openly because this word is useful when the disciple pronounces it as 3-syllable word. O-ye, O-who. The root is eternal knowledge, ever new. Parabrahma state. Light ray drops from darkness and helps the creation by breaking virgin egg in the omnipresent ray. The curse is understood as Mula Prakriti. Stanza, sloka number 6, commentary. Every atom, subatom, or every drop of the ocean, the root of life is having a quality of immortality. Light comes out of darkness. Slowly it blossoms into a new creation of existence, which is also understood as it creates clear-cut shape. Fire, heat, motion, these words are symbolically understood as higher level will in arupa state and paves its way into creation. From arupa is formless, sarupa is with form. Fire is created, world, planet, solar system. Heat is the life on that world. Motion is the evolution of life on that planet. If you can try to understand fire, heat, and motion in our daily life, fire is the willpower, heat is the thought power, motion is crystallization of thoughts. Ancient wisdom has given us fire ritual, which has to be done daily in the morning to use fire, heat, and motion for our speedier evolution towards truth. 7th sloka, commentary. Oh, Lanu. Lanu is initiate. Please understand this carefully. He shines forth as sun. He is effulgent light and divine consciousness. The one becomes 4. 4 takes 3 on its own. This creates 7. That 7 changes into 3 dasha. 3 dasha is 3 into 10. The hosts and multitudes, and those are the multitudes of devatas who are created to help creation. He lifts veil from east to west. He closes the above. He leaves all the below worlds as great illusion. He is fixing the places of devatas. He changes the upper into a sea of fire, which is unending and does not even have a seashore, and creates waters out of manifested. Center everywhere, circumference nowhere. Number 1, bright space. Son of darkness is understood as the life principle in previous creations, now being manifested as new creation. This is OEAO who. This is called divine consciousness because it is manifesting from arupa to sarupa, formless to form. Number 2, Eka. One eternal prajna becomes 4. It is Vakshakti, which is always in 4 states. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikari. This 4 takes the triune method and multiples itself into 7 planes and becomes a Tridasha, or 30 types of karmic devatas. Number 3, the shoreless sea. This is super astral light. The Agni Tattva of mental plane descends into Mula Prakriti as Jalatattva of pranic life streams. The journey from east to west is understood as the manifestation from Arupa state and going back to the Arupa state. Now the commentary of this sloka number 8. That I am that. That is explained in Theosophy in different terms such as darkness, black hole, Kalahamsa. Here this sloka explains as the first sound of creation which comes from the germ, turns into light and descends into Manomaya Talamu or mental plane from Atmic plane, and here dark hidden father becomes white brilliant sun by manifesting in Sarupa state. Sarupa state is form, state of form. The creation slowly coming out of its latent state to manifested state. Commentary of ninth sloka. Electricity is manifested Kundalini or pranic force of the universe. The electricity which we use is manifested Kundalini. Generally, we can understand light, flame, cold, fire, heat, water of life, all related to electricity. Electricity is Kundalini. Fire has creative, operative, and transforming qualities. Light is the tattva of our divine parents. Fire is the matter of mind. Heat and light are relative words. Electricity is the presiding deity over karma in all its pervasiveness. This sloka also helps us to understand, to clear our karmic bondage by understanding karmic law and do some atonement to clear our mistakes of karma. Sloka number 10. Father, mother spin a web. The upper end is fastened to spirit. The light of the one darkness and the lower one to its shadowy end, that is the matter. The web is spun with atmic matter and physical matter. This sentence helps us to understand reincarnations. Modern science says magnetism and electric field are perpendicular to each other and the direction of propagation. Thus, magnetic power helps us karmically in creating circumstances for our birth. Electricity helps us to evolve towards reality. The upper end is Purusha, the lower end is Prakriti. Divine energies enter earth from northern side and goes out through southern side. Earth uses its divine energies for creating its own resources. Here, ancient Rishi wisdom explains Ram is electricity and magnetic power is Krishna. This sloka, although explaining about the latent state of the creation, still we can see it is as the dawn of creation. Sloka number 11. The breath of fire expands it. The breath of the mother touches it and gets contracted. Now the sons are dissociated and return to mother's bosom. When it is cooling, it becomes radiant. Suns expand and contract through their own selves and hearts and embrace infinitude. Breath is the vibration. The one element Akasha pulsates and gives so many suns, 8 products by sympathetic vibrations. Just like Ida and Pingala, this swasa in our body comes forth and reaches its own source. The same happens macro level of creation of suns who are 8 products of creation. Breath controls mind. The breath of the father is Atma and the breath of the mother is matter. Life atoms of Manomay Kosha or mental plane are contracted and expanded and descend into Sarupa state or plane of consciousness. Now we will go to the last sloka, 12th sloka of this 3rd stanza. Now Swabhavat sends Fohat to harden the atoms. Everything is part of the web or universe. This self-existing divinity reflects itself in each and every atom and becomes visible universe. Initially, the universe is created in germ form, but Swabhavat, that is time, uses its cosmic electricity or Fohat, sends the atoms which are latent into Sarupa state by hardening the planetary circumference. These atoms evolve and become mirror prototypes of the atoms that are in upper states of consciousness after some time. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Kishore. Thank you for so consecutively, in such a consecutive way, presenting your speech, and we could hear very accurate thought in all key points of the 12 Slokas, and you did it in a very dynamic way, and you presented a great presentation without outgoing the limits of time. Let's continue.
Today, Mr. Kishore was speaking of the evolution of the meaning of electricity and how it was gathering up the 12 sloka to give this great power of output. So this great output is beyond the limits. How important it is in the text of the Secret Doctrine to go beyond the previous thinking, to get free of these patterns that we have that make it impossible for us to perceive things. We know that a newborn doesn't have habits, so stanza 3 is the newborn state before differentiation, and stanza 3, we can say it's free of these habits. It's free in sound of no sound. In process of preparing the overview of the 12 slokas, we worked through a great deal of material to see the crucial point. And I'll prevent you that the presentation and the overview will last for a long time, but we'll do our best to follow the key points without our habitual knowledge and thinking, getting free from pattern, from habits, getting free, so that in the end of Sloka 12, in the final overview, we feel ourselves free, each of us, and we feel the unity. So let's launch the presentation, please. Stanza 3 of the Secret Doctrine is the basis for the construction of form, the basis for differentiation of all worlds. Its logical coherence and consistency gives us the right to follow the law of unity and analogy. As Madame Blavatsky says, this is the first proof that nature is not a random combination of atoms, and to point out to man his rightful place in the universe, to save from perversion of archaic truths, which is the basis for all religions, reveal to some extent the basic unity from which they all originated, to show that the occult side of nature has never yet been accessible to the science of mortal civilization. All concepts in the verses of Zion and the commentaries of Madame Blavatsky cannot be understood until they form in man. Without form, we cannot understand or approach the non-form. Therefore, the law of identity and conformity is one of the fundamental positions of the Secret Doctrine. The third stanza corresponds to the third principle of the Secret Doctrine. So, principle 3 of the Secret Doctrine teaches the basic identity of all souls, with the universal supreme soul and the latter itself being an aspect of their noble root. The obligatory journey for each soul aspires to the supreme soul through the cycle of incarnation of necessity, according to the law of cycles and karma throughout all life. We can say that stanza 3 outlines the awakening of the universe to life after pralaya. It describes the rebellion of monads from their state of absorption within unity, the earliest and highest stage in the process of the formation of worlds. Thus, stanza 3 is the creation of monad, which can be applied to the vastest solar system as well as to the smallest atom. Stanza 3 is the symbol of fire, the symbol of spirit, the symbol of mind. We can say that stanza 3 is the era of fire, which is the age of era of fire, that is the age of manifested love. It brings new possibilities to earth. One of them is new life, where a human being will also have 3 stages of the soul, not the lower ones, but the upper ones. Nishama, high, and the Hida, the eternity of the human soul, which is the 3 stanzas, what it is, the 3 hypostases of the manifested spirit, 3 phases of the Trinity, the 3rd principle of Mahat, the Supreme Mind. And let's see how stanza 3 consists of 12 slokas. In the numeration, 1 plus 2 makes 3. 3 and 3 is the 6th symbol of the 6-ray star. Which is the 6-ray star? It's the intersection of 2 triangles. You have 12 rays, 12 signs of the zodiac, and each becomes the world. The forces of reason created the primal cause of the world structure. That is so exciting what happened during the creation of the origin of the world order, which was to design the universe, that the whole 3rd stanza and the 12 slokas are saying about. Let's see the key points here. Stanza 3, sloka 1. The last vibration of the 7th eternity thrills through infinitude. The mother swells, expanding from within without, like the bud of the lotus. The primordial substance that is the basis of body, of vehicle, of every phenomenon, physical, psychical, or mental. This is the source from which Akasha radiates. The source is more Prakriti. The kingdom of Akasha is an undifferentiated and abstract space that fills Chidakasam notion. What is Chidakasam? The sphere of the original consciousness. And let's stop here. It's interesting to see the component of the world which practically is translated only by Madame Blavatsky. Kasam means oath, taking an oath. Asamkhya, innumerable, Akasista, to be visible, to appear. More precise pronunciation is Chidakasham. And then it becomes clear why this concept is the place of the kingdom of Akasha, either in the substrate of Akasha, or will be manifested by the first step of full heart or the power of reason. And the state of space in this period creates itself, not by forces, but by countless incalculable forces. It appeared for a moment at the stage of the first sloka of the last tremor and disappeared again. At this moment, a great oath was pronounced to oneself or to the monad. It will forever remain a hidden monad, and only its light will periodically have a reflection. The key point: the veils are the thrill of creative breathing, which, when the time comes, will become movement and differentiation will begin. That is, matter will unfold from the inside out. The vibration of the 7th eternity determines numerical value. Vibration and eternity, a single component of the number 7. 7 eternity, 7 vibrations. At 7 vibration of each eternity, there are 7 eternity, in total 49 vibrations, as well as 49 manifested lights, which in essence reveal the creative potential of the divine person. The key point: the cycle corresponding to the description of the 3rd stanza of the first sloka corresponds to the last 7th tremor, or of the 7th eternity, that is potential 49th fire. Stanza 3, sloka 1, 3 plus 1, 4, 49 lights, 4 plus 9, 13 or 4. What is 4? 4 is the plane of prototypes, where smaller Prakriti Akasha is radiated from there, and the last vibration of the 7th creates the first form of the non-form, the 4th eternal state of matter, which preserves the first 3 monad manas, the key point. So the 3rd stanza, the 3rd unmanifested logos, first sloka, the first logos manifested. So on the 4th plane, the plane of prototypes or phenomenon of the great mystery over the 3 unmanifested logos becomes the first manifested. That is deployment, not being an increase in size, there is only a change in state. A change of states, when the 3rd becomes the 1st, And there are essentially 4, which is a prototype of 7. They are assembled and ready to manifest from the inside out, like a lotus bud. Conclusion: the last vibration of the 7th eternity thrills through infinitude, and mother swells expanded from the within without, like the bud of lotus. Description of the state of space, the last 7th vibration before differentiation. Stanza 3, Sloka 2. The vibration sweeps along, touching with its swift wing the whole universe and the germ that dwelleth in darkness, the darkness that breathes with slumber and waters of life. Striving on the higher manifested planes takes their manifestation or its own formalization of the lower planes. This is aspiration. Aspiration is a wing, which corresponds to the swift wing. It is the touch of the entire universe, which corresponds to the symbol of Kalachakra bird. The key point: the Kalachakra's wing is not divided, so it possessed the impetuosity, transmitting unity to all Manvantaras. Stanza 3, Sloka 2, 3 plus 2 make up 5. Symbol of 5 is manas. According to the planes of being, stanza 3, the third plane of being, plane of spirit outside womb's Mahat. The second sloka, the second plane of being, the first 7 rays are the potential internal being of the creative reasonable power. The 5 is the 5th plane of being, the plane of mind, of creativity. The 7 rays of heart, the manifested united power of the creative reasonable mind. The symbol of Tian Chuhans, the reasons of the human being born. Aspiration drives all systems of cognition. It means that the striving of a swift wing in the last vibration gathers them unmanifested discreteness of the state of being in the single state, the 7th, which give the manifestation of mind. Stanza 3, Sloka 2, the inner formation of the carrier of basis of time, its inner essence as manas, which as a condition will become the appearance of time when the time comes. The key point when the power of propagation is the last and final one before the start of a new action of a cycle. The power of vibration of darkness, or the breath of the spirit which rose above the slumbering waters of life, touched in its swift movement the entire universe and the germ that dwelt in it. From this moment another process begins. Conclusion: the waters of life have ceased to slumber since absolutely all space is touched. The first movement of the wave of rhyme is given the beginning of breathing. Stanza 3, Sloka 3. Darkness radiates lights. The light drops one solid ray to waters into the mother deep. The ray shoots through the virgin egg. The ray causes the eternal egg to thrill. The drop the non-eternal periodical germ which condenses into world egg. Radiation is always the power. Darkness is the source power of light. Light drops into the ray when the mass of light is equal to the mass of the volume of the ray. That is, the equal. The 4 rays solitary. The key point: the state of unity of the 3 forces of light and 3 forces of ray, 3 plus 3 merge into 1, become 1, a solitary, and 1 drops becoming 7. 1 solitary falls into mother deep, mother that is deep, and not just into a bosom of matter, but precisely into depth, and the force of penetration impetuously enters the mother deep, drops and touches the jaw, and shoots through it. That is the ray. The ray is wide, absolute, and the 7 prismatic rays emanate and become one with it again. The key point: the branching of the ray beyond the circumference is revealed by the necessity of the law of manifestation. It's the combination of 2 opposite forces for fertilization of the germ. External force and internal, both male and female energies, and only the unity of these forces will give the 3rd force of the ray, which itself is the force and the ray of simultaneous fusion. With further differentiation, it condenses into the world egg, which is 7-fold like the world is. Darkness radiates light, it's self-fertilization, and light drops one solitary ray into the waters, into water deep resurrection. The ray shoots through the virgin egg creation. The ray causes the eternal egg to thrill, destruction, and drop the non-eternal periodical germ, which condenses into world egg, which is regeneration. So stanza 3, Sloka 4, the 3 fall into 4, the radiant essence becomes 7-side The three fall at 4 and the triangle falls into quarter. The radiant essence becomes 7. That's an entity able not to emit a ray, but also carry its essence into differentiations, correlations, transformations. The nature of essence into reflection in and symbolized by number 3. It becomes sevenfold and radiance transforms into radiation. Then the nature is filled with radiance or light and limit form becomes necessary, or transformation of this radiance into another state in order to carry this light further. This action is the falling of 3 into 4. 7 without, 7 within, the shining egg, threefold in itself, Hiraya, Garbha, the womb. The golden egg, the radiant fire, remains the ethereal substance from which the universe was formed. We know that the ethereal substance is sparks of mind. The key point, the radiant nature of the ethereal substance is spark of the mind. It's accumulating to manifest the first ray from the atom. So here are the 14 jewels. 14 jewels of the golden egg. A sample is 7, 14, 7 inside, 7 outside the eggs. 14, 14, 5 and 5, the symbol of man as the mind preserved in the golden egg. 7 inside, the solar inside, 7 outside, the lunar outside. So the form of mind is the 7-ray star. The key point, the occult goal is to preserve the mind. The form of occult goals is explained as the fourth initiation, 3 into 4, or into the form of fourth initiation. The fourth initiation is the crucifixion, the symbol of the cross. The student has mastered everything that the 3 worlds of experiment, experience, and expression could give him, and now he is free. The key points, the 3 stages of astral light, the 3 worlds of experiment. Either is the 7th principle of astral light, 3 degrees above radiant matter. Atom is the 7th principle of molecule, 7 inside, 7 outside. 7 principles of unmanifested plane, 7 principles of the manifested plane, as above, so below. And the 4th initiation, the construction of Antakarana, the bridge connecting the personality, the soul, and the monad is completed. After the completion of the Antakarana, the cosmos burns and the soul merges with the monad. The soul is on its own plane of existence. The key point, stanza 3, Sloka 4. 3 plus 4 make up 7. The 3 fall into 4 and become 7. The radiant egg, which is threefold in itself, collapses, spread in the milky white clots of the depth of the mother. It has ability to collapse and spread as the depth of the mother or the heart has opened, and it becomes septenary because mother has casted like 3 into 4 into the bowels of Maya. Conclusion, the 7 paths to bliss and the great causes of suffering take shape in the radiant nature, manifest internally and externally. So stanza 3 is Sloka 5. The root remains, the light remains, the clots remain, and yet Oyehu is one. The key point, the root remains. This is the 3 that stay for further development and differentiation. It arises when a pair of opposites appears. The key point, the first 3, that is the root, cast a shadow of form, and 3 more appear, their reflection, the 6 are 1. The key point, the light remains, its quaternary of 4, which is then created from the 3 and connected them into the midpoint, which is 4, the center of the 6-pointed star. The key point, at the start of movement, the radiant and cooled matter begins to disperse, forming clumps, which is stellar matter, the seeds of future worlds, and yet Oyehu is one. One means inseparability of everything that lives and has its being in active or passive states. Oyehu the Junior appears as Manu before the birth of each race at the beginning of new cycle, giving the new keynote of vibration. The cycle is called the one great cycle of the planet, in particular the current 4 great cycle during which the 7 races of humanity mature.
The first race is the sun, the orange ray, a ray of the sun, psychic primordial energy, the power of life, creativity, a symbol of eternal movement. The second race is the moon, the violet ray. It's a ray of moon, a symbol of the space where the ray of the sun descends or touches, and both of them are one. So the first and the second race is merged into one, like Atma Buddhi. The third race is Mars, the red ray, the symbol of the spirit. Thus, the third race was very spiritual. In the third sub-race, or the third race, Agni, Shvati, or solar Pitras bestowed the true spirituality, reason, upon none. The fourth race, Mercury, the yellow ray, is the symbol of wisdom, the light of the divine mind. The fourth race has reached a tremendous level of development. The fifth race, Jupiter, the blue ray, a symbol of discipleship and teacher, purity of the heart. The sixth race, Venus, an indigo ray, symbol of the mind, the higher manas. The seventh race, Saturn, a green ray, synthesis of all six rays, the phenomenon of thought in its true form. A person learns to think, and at the end of the seventh race leaves the planet Earth. Oyeho is 1, 7 vowels can be pronounced as 1, 3, or 7 syllables, 7 vowels, an eternal manifestation of the universal principle. O, 7 vowels, like 7 O's, or 7 spheres, or 7 worlds, the impulse of the spirit, or the first 3, as the connecting link of the original fire, transmitting the basis to each world. The manifested prism is a septenary, or a person on earth. It's like a sound notes according to the planes of existence, beginning with the lowest physical, respectively, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. The first race is the sun, orange ray, do. The second race, the moon, violet ray, race 3, Mars, the red ray, mi. The fourth race, Mercury, yellow ray, Fa. The fifth race, Jupiter, blue ray, Sol. Race 6, Venus, indigo ray, La. Race 7, Saturn, green ray, T. Mixing colors, we take 3 primary colors, such as red, yellow, indigo. We mix red and yellow. It becomes orange. Indigo plus yellow becomes green. Indigo plus red becomes violet. 6 colors in the end mixed with the 3 primary ones. Only blue is missing. According to Blavatsky table, Sol is a blue note, the auric shell, or the etheric body, the body of thought. Ether, blue fire. The key point is that blue cannot be mixed with any other color. It's pure mind, manas, a pure heart, the thread of antakarana, a ring, do not transgress, a symbol of the fifth race, salt of the earth. Combining these forces and bringing microcosm into harmony with macrocosm will produce a geometric equivalent of the spell Om Mani Padme Hum. The manifested prism is the 7 or none on earth. Each one form of from the primordial septenary, the primeval 7 rays forming the manifested logos is itself septenary. The root of life was in every drop of the ocean. The ocean was a radiant light. A single light turned into creative rays. The root of life is in every drop of ocean of immortality, this drop of Amrita. So the root of life is in each drop of Amrita, triangle. According to the planes of being, a drop of Amrita, fire, heat, movement. The darkness disappeared. It disappeared as the movement of light, the rays of creation began. The higher ether is born by movement. Movement gives birth to heat. Heat is the highest ether in motion. When the higher ether slows down, the movement cold appears. Cold is the highest ether in a latent state. Out of the darkness comes the logos in 4 aspects. Weight, chaos is the highest ether in the primary state, light, heat, and the 4th one is fire. Fire and water of father and mother can be understood as meaning the divine ray and chaos. Fire is in the same relation to water as spirit is to matter. 1/9 of hydrogen is the spirit, and 8/9 of oxygen is matter. Thus, fire and water are like spirit and matter, and their sum gives us 0.99, etc. What are 0 and 9? The creative ray 9, in space or sphere 0, 9 and 9 are water and fire. The darkness disappeared in the body of fire and water. Father and mother. The darkness disappeared when the impulse of the ray of the Creator united spirit and matter in his nature in the body of water and fire. The body of fire is the spirit. The body of water is matter, 9 and 9. 9 is a key symbol and a number corresponding to stanza 3, Shloka 6. 3 plus 6 gives us 9. This impulse is not mechanical, but a purely spiritual, nervous impulse. The ocean or space received a spiritual impulse, and it became a radiant light. Darkness vanished in the creation of the rays of the One. The body space, or the entire nervous system of the universe, began to function. The processing and exchange of information of each organ, feelings, in the single body began. And the exchange became an exchange of various internal light streams, thereby transfiguration, transformation, and multiplicity of light illuminated the entire space. The movement of life began. During this period of evolution, the nervous system of the universe is being created, a cumulative, integral, morphological, and functional system that will allow, as an integrative system, to link all future regulatory systems of the universe into the one whole. The spirituality, or rather the spiritual immunity of the universe was created. Stanza 3, Shloka 7. Behold, O Lanu. The seventh Shloka corresponds to the seventh veil. It frees the creative forces for unhindered movement. And this is the path of shining light. Those who can follow this path will be able to become creators or builders of the universe. This is the latest test. This is the union of 6 and 1 in 1. This is the union of 10 or 9 in 1, which in its essence has 7. The last is always the most difficult. This is the power of advancement, or the beginning of movement. There is someone who can overcome this last test according to the Dzyan stanza. This is Lanu, disciple. A disciple either at the teacher's ray or walking along the teacher's ray. In other words, Lanu is someone who can walk along the path of shining light. The radiant child is something that has just been born and has a development in the very germ, a child or beginning, radiant, a ray at the dawn of Manvantara, of the two, father and mother, their bodies of fire and water, two spaces of light and darkness. At the dawn of Manvantara, the dark space is manifested by light, and this is Oyahu, the younger, the son of the dark space. Oyahu, the younger, differentiated, is the reflection or shadow of Oyahu, the older, who cannot differentiate due to this absolute value. He who bathes in the light of Oyahu will never be seduced by the veil of Maya. In order to bathe in the light of Oyahu, you need to have an identical structure to become crystal clear. Then there will be a connection with a single light, the sun, the solar logos, which is devoid of the veils of Maya. Bathing in the light of Oyahu is our highest self. Oyahu, he shines forth as the sun. He is the blazing divine dragon of wisdom. He is the solar logos in his only manifestation, crystal purity, the basis of phosphoric tissue, the canvas on which the coagulation of condensed light will subsequently occur. Coagulation or folding, thickening, what does this mean in the evolutionary period of the beginning of differentiation? This means the victory of light over darkness in all periods of Manvantara, or the law of the cosmic will power. The key point, spontaneous restoration of light after any destruction, since it's possible to destroy only the physical, dense, that exists. What doesn't exist cannot be destroyed. In each current movement, or rather moment, open the future with this victory. That is, create a new combination. Ika, 1, is Logos, takes to itself Chatur, 4. Logos in 4 aspects. In 4 aspects, it takes 3 Logos for itself. 3 manifested and 1 Logos in 4 aspects. And their union gives birth to 7 Logos. All 7 levels are connected by the bridges. The transition is carried out by 3 elements entering and exiting the fabric. Ika, 1, is Logos. It takes to itself Chatur, 4 Logos in 4 aspects. In 4 aspects, it takes 3 Logos for itself. 3 manifested and 1 Logos in 4 aspects, and their union gives birth to 7 logos. 7 logos, there are 7 in it. 7 globes, which become 30, or 3 planes of existence. Spirit, 3 planes of spirit beyond forms, above, matter, below, and turns the higher fire spirit below water, matter. 2 ash winds, copper, represent the transition from darkness to light, the 6 rays star. In esotericism, there are 2 logi. One of them is unmanifested, the other one is manifested, triangle or quadrilateral. One complete triangle is 10. 4 points, 3 rays, and their connection gives us 10. 2 complete triangle, their connection gives us 10. In total, we've got 30. Tri dasha. As a sum, we've got 33, the sacred number. The 12 aditas, 8 vasus, 11 rudras, and 2 ashwins. It is spread from the inside out, 3 and 3, 12 adityas, 8 vasus, 11 rudras, 4 planes, 7 globes, 2 ashwins. As a sum, we've got 33. 33 is the sacred number. There is universal mediator of all forms of life. It's the only mediator pouring life into the primordial matter and forming the 2 secrets, the spiritual and the material ones, or life and death. Odd ob owl, active and passive, positive and negative, like night and day, the primary light and creation, electricity and life. Pohat is a hissing serpent. The Hebrew letter Teth, its worldwide meaning is 9, for Teth is the 9th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, or the 9th door of the 50 gates. What is the 9th door? It's the 9th Nidana, the blue boar, manifested consciousness. The 50th gate, it's the 50th Nidana of the red dragon. It's the blazing dragon of wisdom. Its opposite, Adi Shakti, the red dog. The 50th gate gives the power to master the forces of Shakti. The 9th door, the 50th gate, these are the symbols revealing as they start living or create a movement or a change in mind. Pohat, the primary force, the cause of this force, is manifested in millions of aspects of all cosmic electricity existing in the universe, and it can be called essence. The key point, stanza 3, shloka 7, 7 plus 3 gives us 10. 10 is movement or diameter in a circle, the form of 9. 9 is the essence of Pohat, or the sun. As soon as the ocean became a radiant light, and a child of form of ray 10 appeared with an inner essence 9, and manifested 3 and manifested 7, which corresponds to shloka 7 of the stanza 3. 9 plus 3 plus 7 gives us 19, or 9 in 1. Essentially, this is the space of ectoplasm, a repository of psychic energy. It's homogeneous and has a high degree of light refraction. As soon as spiritual unity was created and the nervous system of the universe began to be formed, the interchange of cells, colors, light, and of transfiguration, transformation, and multiplicity, the entire organism of the universe was completed. Stanza 3, shloka 8. Where was the germ and where was now darkness? The germ was single and was hidden in the divine bosom. The thrill touched the germ and it ceased to be one. The phase of its separation began. First it was dual, which corresponds to shloka 2, then threefold, corresponding to shloka 3. That is, the germ turned from the third state into 6, namely, the duality of the first 3 occurred inside. So the world egg was formed, sevenfold in its essence. Now the phase corresponding to stanza 3, shloka 8. 8 is the state of formation. It can be compared with the 8 months of a woman's pregnancy. It's well known that infants born at 7 months can be viable, like those born at 9 months. And an 8-month-old fetus does not survive. There is no life force. Some people believe that an 8-month-old fetus doesn't suffer and therefore doesn't survive. Stanza 3, shloka 8, is a state of the space of light that has begun to shine, and its radiance, there is a complete absence of suffering, since there is no reason for it. darkness became equal to light when it completely preserved it. And it was an evolutionary necessity for this preservation. The darkness bowed before light. Darkness bowed before light. And at the very beginning of the evolution of the universe, darkness became equal to the light. And in this movement, light marked the victory on all planes of existence, the victory of light over by darkness. This is an evolutionary step in the structure of the universe, step 8. The darkness was in the light as the reason for its appearance, as the spirit, and the spirit of this flame was in the monad. Shloka 8 is the completion of the 7th sector before the 8th step, the appearance of man who will upset the balance scales with the appearance of suffering. Stanza 3, Shloka 9. The disconnected matter is called cold because this primary atom hasn't yet produced cosmic heat. And the cosmos, in the sense of disconnected matter, did not exist because the cosmos exists only when the first thought is born, which becomes the cosmos. It turns out that the disconnected matter cannot be alive, so it is cold. It means that there is something that gives life to matter, revealing its hidden warmth. A conductor is needed for such transmission. The conductor of the essence of matter is man. A person who has accepted and learned the one law is able to convey unity in diversity and diversity in unity. As soon as a person's ability to create and think independently is born, then there are no barriers to the realization or formation of thought. By materializing thought in this dense world, a person helps the action of the one law, the nature inherent in matter or birth. The key point is, it gives birth when warmth and a fetus appear in it. As soon as warmth and fetus appear, there occurs the following. Its primary nature becomes dual. In order for birth to take place, a synthesis of two opposing forces is necessary, which means that something unified must become dual, for the original one to become a substance for the beginning. The original becomes the beginning. As soon as there is a beginning, there will be movement or life. The one becomes a variety. The eternal becomes periods. The eternal becomes periods of time, the basis of which is existence. There are transformations into powers or cognitive abilities of man, or rather, into their source. The source of the powers of knowledge in man is the forces of the Shakti. Shakti is called the great universal infinite divine energy, which is the creative and executive force of the ocean of the divine consciousness. Let's turn to Kalachakra to make some comparisons. The cold maiden, as the Virgo sector on Kalachakra, it is cold until a person possesses the powers of Shakti. As soon as a person begins to possess them, the person becomes wise by the power of light and heat. The black snake starts the cycle of intelligent actions. The blue horse preserves the purity of thought, gives power to movement. The blue goat, thought is kept pure, pure thought is the power of thought. Red monkey, Alm or Tridasha, gives the power of adjustment between the inner and the outer, and the red rooster rejoices at the victory of the movement of form, ascension or logos, the key point. The matter is manifested by the thrill. This is her heart's first impulse, and matter begins to give birth. Thus something is born out of nothing. And this is the main process, which, if it becomes loved, elevates a person's consciousness. If it remains misunderstood, not applied, not loved, then consciousness becomes immobile and as a result becomes dead. Intelligence becomes stupidity. Feeling becomes conceit. A person ceases to be a carrier of reason. He becomes monad-less. A person can change the properties of fire or the elements, breathe underwater, move underground, fly through the air. The reason for comprehending the essence is psychic energy, the ability to preserve and apply it. The preservation of psychic energy is ectoplasm. It is the reservoir of the heart. Psychic energy can change the property of fire. or replace the negative for positive, evil for good. The key point. Ectoplasm is a place of preservation of psychic energy, a psychic or other symbol of the 9-ray star corresponding to Sloka 9. Correlates of electricity arise from this place. Each ray will divide the space and begin to combine and acquire its own qualities. The sun will acquire the property of psychic energy, the moon, space, mass, spirit, cold, Mercury, life, the divine wisdom of Jala Rupa, cold fire, Jupiter will give warmth, and Venus will give mind, and the synthetic thought of Saturn will animate all 7 rays. Reason and creativity are correlates of electricity, and in a person, it is the quality of mental energy. Saturn, as a symbol of movement, of thought, of time, gives an impulse to the manifestation of correlates of electricity. A thought becomes mobile. This is how a world of its own is formed. Its own form of expression, its own thought. That's how the mind creates. Precisely Saturn, the last one, green in color, will give this impulse to all 7 rays. Mind or as moving thought, so that each of the 7 rays acquires its own form, life, or its own world. The greatest phenomenon changes human consciousness. Improving the quality of everything throughout life is the best accumulation of psychic energy. In space, ectoplasm, the symbol of the 9-ray star, the symbol of the connection of the 3 worlds, is the reservoir of accumulation and preservation of psychic energy. Straight knowledge, which is composed of accumulations of past lives and stored in the chalice. The stanza 3 and the 9th shloka is the fire, the basis for revealing psychic energy through division and unification, destruction and creation. Stanza 3, shloka 9, creation of the basis of the heart of ectoplasm. It's the storage and preservation of psychic energy. This is how fire waves appear, and these fire waves gather all the consciousness that is able to resist the vortex. The collected consciousness must resist the vortex, that is, transform the pattern of eternity into an essence, into a building impulse that will manifest itself in all the diversity of future worlds and forms, and this is Vabhavat.
Это спираль, которая имеет продвижение вверх. Это возможно тогда, когда появляется последовательность. Именно последовательность стала возможна, когда произошло закрепление ткани или сущности отца и матери.
Became possible when the unity of father and mother began spinning the fabric. The vortex starts changing the initial essence of Swabhava, that is the upcoming spiral, giving the possibility of evolution. The key point is the creation of a universe. It makes universe the etheric plane, and according to Sloka 10 of the stanza 3 of Dzyan, is the 3rd power that can move freely and potentially create. The potential creativity is the building impetus, and the building impetus is the action of the father-mother spinning the fabric. It begins to change the rhyme and properties of the boundless creativity of psychic energy. The collected consciousness must resist the vortex, that is, to transform the pattern of eternity into the essence, and to build an impetus that will manifest itself in all the diversity of future worlds and forms. And this foundation, the synthesis of the deepest, the union of the two opposites, the essence of Swabhava, this is the building impetus upon which all the laws of the universe are built. When the idea is applied by the individual, if he knows the laws, then there is no death, there is the change of form, it refines, becomes purer, better, and the life, the quality of the inner world of the individual changes. So the unbreakable Brahma spreads. It can only spread by heat. Coal concentrates energy and heat spreads. And that is the ultimate electricity, magnetism, heat, light, life, all the concepts. All these are rays of Brahmas, the hands of Brahma that give humanity all the possibilities it has. And we are coming to the key point. The key point is the 10th sloka is the change of the inner nature. Life and death, they change the state of the inner nature of man, that is within man, every human being. there is a special place for darkness, and that is where the miracle takes place. The miracle is the appearance of the inner light. Conclusions. Stanza 3, Sloka 10, the state of space ready to give love. That is the great miracle. Stanza 3, Sloka 11, it spreads. What is it? It spreads. This love spreads in the 11th sloka. So the fabric is the basis for the future universe, and the source. Then here see the several names for the fabric. Materia matrix, the basis for all matters of the universe. This matter is an uncoupled substance which can now be poured into forms by the creators. Materia lucida, the luminous matter, is the stage of manifestation of primary matter on the astral plane, yet available for research, defined by Madame Yary, and visible to the human eye with open energy centers in the form of luminous matter of various shades, the matter from which the spirit builds its subtle bodies. Materia lucida, matrix matter, that are types of spatial energies that will one day be at the disposal of mankind, but the apparatus that will be able to apply and use them will basically be microcosm of man, the conductor of the subtlest energies. Asugina, it's the synonym of the solar fabric connecting the earthly world with the divine, the cosmic garment of the spirit of the mother of the world. Those on the earth have centers that make it possible to penetrate into spiritual areas, but the involution has disrupted humanity of some protective properties. Fabric yarn is the eternally existent primordial substance. When the breath of fire of Father touches the yarn, it expands. The subjective material is limitless, eternal, indestructible. When the breath of Mother touches it, when the time of manifestation comes and needs to become objective form, it shrinks, and the objective material form cannot be limitless. The key point is the following. If the fabric of substance exists and has its phases and the specifications of varieties of the pattern of eternity, which creates of forms worlds from the single state, it means that there exists something that creates the patterns of Huti, of consciousness. That's the Father's breath, the key point. Mother causes the fabric to contract. Father induces the fabric to expand. It's the eternal process of involution and devolution or renewal consciousness. The Father is outside and Mother is inside. The atoms, after the decomposition of the body into its primary essence, the body turns into vapor and is preserved in the bosom of the Mother. The possible shape of these arcs is limited to the figures known in geometry under the general term of conic sections. It depends on specific conditions, speed, distance, and direction, determining what time of arc we'll get. An ellipse, a circle, a parabola, a hyperbola, and will be one of the above. The key point, this phenomena is the result of confrontation between constrained and free forces, seemingly irreconcilable, but in fact based on interdependence and harmony. The key point, Fuhard, having collected several clumps of cosmic matter on nebulae, and giving it an impulse, sets in motion again and has developed the necessary warmth and allows it to follow its new growth. Combination of spirit and matter creates atoms and their pulsation. The human heart also pulsates, contracting and expanding. That is the fabric, the plastic essence of spirit of matter. Pulsation comes from the interaction of internal and external. Losing heat, a gaseous body contracts, and the amount of heat generated by compression exceeds the amount it must lose in order to produce compression. During contraction, the external fire turns into internal fire, which is the heat that exceeds the amount of heat that must be lost in order to produce compression, or during during pulsation, contraction, and cooling. Forehead transforms the inner fire into heat, independent for the propagation of new growth, which is life. Then the sons separate and scatter in order to return to the bosom of Mother at the end of the great day, in order to reconnect with her. So the acting force remains in solemn solitude and can perceive only itself, or the inner merges with the outer. And that is the focus, the center. Striving downwards is the spirit matter. Striving upward is the matter of the spirit. The key point. The 11 sons of Brahma corresponds to Sloka 11. That is the reflection of the actions of the foretic forces by the representative of the 11 Manasaputras. They constitute the totality of the eternal mind. Sons are mind that build the fabric by themselves. This fabric is their body, the form of the higher mind, while the breath above is the state of the unmanifested mind, that the breath touches causeless warmth arises, and the contraction and spreading occurs. That is the pulse, that is how the heart beats, which contains infinity by updating currents of consciousness. The form disappears, the active force remains in solemn solitude. As the active force remains in solemn solitude, the inaction disappears when the forces gather for action. The active force renews. It becomes conscious and remains in solemn solitude as this force is out. The key point, the active force in solemn solitude is the force of renewal of consciousness from which the Swabhavat fabric is created. The innate power is love. It strives for the essence that gives birth to it, and for the free divine will it happens. The free one force is the higher mind. The higher force is Aum. The key point, Aum is the power of renewal of consciousness. Conclusion. Each impetus can renew the fabric of consciousness, and this action is infinite. That is the all-creative force fused with the absolute mind. Stanza 3, Sloka 12. The Swabhavat sends Fuha to harden the atoms. And so the seven happened to be there with brilliant light, absolutely pure and inviolable, which permeated all the planes of being from the unmanifested to the future manifested ones, thereby giving the power of victory over darkness. The previous events, that was purification of the place where the universe will be created, was filled with the waters of life. This matter became a common universal mind. And then there was power to fill this place, the Swabhavat, who brought into a universal eternal pattern, a construction impetus, this foundation, so that mind could resist the vortex movement of light which creates the web. This web was widespread when two changed the universal pattern with their breath into many combinations and correlations, and the number of these patterns was unlimited. The matter cooled down from the fiery state and gave the sons the opportunity to manifest. The key point. By the time of the events of the 12th sloka, a great purification took place, filling the mother with the purest crystal waters. A warmth appeared. Swabhavat gave a construction impetus to the foundation, its body. The base was filled with a web of foundation, so the sons or rays could spread this web and change the pattern of the future individual worlds. The acting force is Fuhat. He is the Lord, self, the legislator, the acting force, and this law and its executor. But there's something that's above this acting force. Above this acting force of Fuhat, there is Swabhavat. And he sends something to act like the law. Swabhavat for the mother sends Fuhat, that is the sun who becomes the universe. Atoms are part of the universe. Fuhat makes atoms solid by giving them energy. It scatters atoms, which is the original matter. He scatters himself, scattering matter into atoms. The key point. Swabhavat spins the web through construction impetus through its own body. Fuhat scatters itself, scattering matter into atoms. The body of the universe is created from the body of Swabhavat and the creative force of Fuhat, which transmits the creative potential of matter, spiritualizing it. Next to Fuhat, the ideas of universal mind are imprinted in matter. These are the root cause of the world structure which designed the universe. Interactions of being and non-being, formation of inorganic being and becoming beyond physical and chemical laws. Universal consciousness, awareness, knowledge, the universal soul, totality of thought, will, feeling, absolute wisdom, the intelligent root cause of the world, the mind that designed the universe. How does Fuhat imprint these ideas on the mother? Through electricity. How does it work? As a mediator. Fuhat is the mediator between absolute and conditioned power. As active and productive power, male and female, Fuhat is the active male power and female productive power of Shakti nature. As centripetal and centrifugal forces, the law of harmony and balance, Fuhat is the law of harmony and balance. as it's the simultaneous movement of the law and its mover. Fohat is mover and moved at the same time. Differentiation of Davi Prakriti, the primordial light, as representative of Manasaputras. Fohat is the guide of the law, its representative, and the representative of Manasaputras, which together constitute eternal mind, 11 sons of Brahma, 11 Manasaputras. According to the planes of being, the earthly plane in spiritual cross symbol 11 defines the point of return upward cycle. From this point, involution ends and evolution begins. The key point, Fohat can solidify atoms as the representative of the law of aggregates of the eternal mind, that is, spiritualized matter and materialized spirit. As the representative of Manasaputras, the 11 sons of Brahma, it can incarnate in the ego. In 12 solid atoms of worlds, the 11 reflections of the self-existent Lord are the 12 nidanas of the Kalachakra hierophants. Each is a part of the web, reflecting the self-existent Lord like the mirror. Each becomes in turn the world. That is how Fohat acted, imprinting ideas on the matter and giving form to life. A shackled will is an external force. Free will is an inner force that gives growth to consciousness or the worlds. Any growth depends on the inner power, because at our level, only this power is capable of acting consciously. Symbolically, the 14 Manu is a circle divided by perpendicular 7 in one side, 7 in other side, respectively. In combination of the sum 14 is 1 plus 4 is 5, 5 the symbol of person, the symbol of mind. Conclusion, and each atom became the world of mind, a reflection of the divine mind, open to the new growth of conscious inner force. Thank you so much. The 12 slokas bring us to the idea of the new growth, the inner power that is free. If you remember, let's try, I said in the overview of the 12 slokas, to go out this habitual state, because that state is free. Free with the sound of no sound. What are the builders? The 12 referential points of boundlessness that are not there, that don't exist. And the measurement of this movement is not measured. Stanza 3 is perfect to the extent that there is no fear, because fear gets there because of non-perfection. If we take stanza 3 as the highest ideal of evolution of the human mind, we will never get confused on the way of following these perfect ideals. Thank you so much. So we have several minutes left. Thank you so much for posing so many questions that we'll answer definitely in the quizzy. Today we have the Doctor of Metaphysical Science, our partner and the member of Theosophical Society of the United States of America, Michelina Foster, and we'll be so happy to hear from you the great concept of stanza 3. So we have 1 minute to express it. We are limited in time, and this consciousness you have is capable of giving that, because that's the practice of your own life, that you moved closer and closer to this ideal. So we're listening to you. Welcome.
Sloka 3 does explain a lot of the mind, and I think the student begins to see it from a human standpoint, and then as they evolve, we begin to see it as a movement of cosmic energies in a very, very simplistic way. But the mind of the human has to watch and learn, observe how these essences work together. And stanza 3 tries to explain this so that we can understand it to ourselves, actually. But the simplicity of the universe, the cosmos, that which is in formation at this point always, and it never wasn't. The only time that we see something beginning is because we see something beginning, but it has always been there. And you explained it so well. I thank you. I thank you all.
Госпожа Фостер, огромное спасибо, что вы были
Thank you
с нами.
so much, Madam Foster, for being with us, for looking through the main key points of the 12 slokas, and we would like to listen to the members of the research group of our guest and our partner, the Doctor of Philosophy, Professor of the School of Arts from Korea, Sol, Mr. Huang.
И итоги подведения обзора третьей станции Диан. Пожалуйста, слушаем вас внимательно.
Mr. Huang, we'll give you the floor.
Thank you very much for your summary of the stanza 3. It is enormous theory. I think it's in the middle of the evolution of the universe. It comes to us slowly and slowly. Maybe in the future will it will be more clear. Thank you very much.
Огромное спасибо, господин Хванг, что
Thank
вы
you so much, Mr. Huang, for staying with us and for being very stubborn in your aspiration, because by studying the secret doctrine and by reviewing this idea, we give freedom to ourselves for the evolution of our consciousness. And now I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Yary. Vladimir, for me, stanza 3 is related to something that is impossible to understand and learn. I perceive it as a lyre with its liars. I imagine it the following way. In the time of the calmness of our mind, and our mind gets calm only with the power of love, and this creative power gives the opportunity to reflect the reality. These mirrors that are part of the potential element component of our soul has the ability to reflect, and that's important. In this state of mind we should be, and then our understanding will be humanly and divine at the same time. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, the key points describing the stanza 3 have no limits. 3 is the 3 highest. It is God. And teachers explain to us that there is nothing inside us that God of the highest 3 wouldn't be able to reach. But when can they reach it? When this opportunity exists, when it appears, when the opportunity to create appears, when the habits of the past are eliminated, and stanza 3 gives us the opportunity to create. It is ready to create. This is the state of mind or consciousness that has already a particular speed of movement, moves through some of the important points in no time, momentarily. These are the points of time when the realization takes place, when the thrilling takes place. The 3 forces, powers contribute to this realization. And this is true for the cells of cosmos, of human beings, of anything. It is now in the dormant state. Most of the time, it is in the dormant state. Why are there so many manifestations during the evolution? What was the idea of the teachers when at such critical point of evolutional development, of evolution, of the development of the human path, this knowledge was given? The knowledge that can awaken the dormant state of mind. Stanza 3, or these 3 highest powers, are united, and they can awaken the consciousness, the mind of humans. And we can only admire and be grateful to such beauty and such power, to this open path that lays before us, that gives us the opportunity to awaken the consciousness of each of us. Dear friends, today, Alexander Bobko, Evgenia Persova helped us with simultaneous interpreting. Thank you so much for working with us and staying with us during this time and being able to convey the key points to our listeners. We don't say goodbye to you. Very soon you'll see the recording of the Theosophical quiz. Thank you so much for sending us hearts, likes. Thank you for staying with us till the end of this webinar, for listening to this informational flow, for listening to this variety of research, studying Stanza Zion together with us. We'll definitely answer all your questions. We will meet you on the 9th of May. You know that the 8th of May is the White Lotus Day, the anniversary of the Blavatsky, and the 9th of May is the day of the victory of the spirit, and we'll be happy to gather with you to touch upon this spirit, to be within these energies of reviewing the key points that in detail we will look into. We'll look into Shloka 12 of stanza 3. On the 9th of May, we'll rejoin and work together to awaken our consciousness and touch upon stanza 3. Love and light. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you for your stamina, for your patience, and for the aspiration to the awakening. See you soon.